Welcome everyone, Grandmaster Thor here, and I want to discuss with you today, of course, the numerous more misunderstandings of what real occultism is all about. I'm going to discuss real occult tools and how they work. Now, I've covered a bunch of information to kind of describe tools and so forth, but in a general understanding, if you have a real occult tool, it is something that will assist in ways that you will not even quite understand, and new and better uses will come to you as the product will actually start communicating with you. You will actually be assisted by and led into different areas because the product will assist you in areas probably that you never even conceived of. Getting something, particularly any occult tool from particularly the guild, and using it like it's some sort of product you bought in a common store is probably an error that most people make because, who understands occultism and who teaches anybody other than the guild? So you get something, particularly if it's a specific use product and it's supposed to help you in that area. And again, people interpret these things to be in a much more direct fashion instead of really looking for indirect ways to manifest in your life. When you get something that's like the Grandmaster All-Purpose Bag, all-purpose is a very important term there because it helps you in every single common area of your life. And since you are connected to so many different spirits as well, you really have to use this as one of these major streams of connecting you to magical gnosis or magical wisdom, magical truth. It's not just a tool that's going to be so direct for you. And, of course, there's always that misunderstanding of occultism in general again. And, of course, basically what people are expecting or desire, and I can certainly understand this to a particular level, is, everybody wants to basically have godlike powers. They want to heal themselves. They want to control everybody. They want to make $1 billion. And, that's just not how the world works. I mean, there's very few people ultimately that are all that successful. And a lot of people who are successful still haven't overcome so many areas of their lives. They self-destruct. They die from illnesses. So, I mean, there's many things going on here that people don't quite understand. Now, magic works with you, not for you, and I've been saying this as of recently, and it's very important that everyone understands that concept. Thinking that you can reach this all-powerful state and be this God-man on a planet that has no gods, that has no superheroes, that has a tiny fraction of the people that you would consider to have higher abilities, and who have not been murdered and imprisoned or assassinated in general because of these abilities, is not the reality that any product is going to give you. You're not going to become this God-man, empowered Superman type person. That's not what this plane is all about. I think people really misunderstand that. And there's somehow this belief system that if you find the secrets, if you have the tool, if you know the God, if you know the secret word, that somehow that you're going to empower yourself to these enormous levels. And the illusion of what's been selling books since they've been made, and grimoires in particular, is this fantasy aspect, this pulp fiction, that you are going to have super abilities far surpassing the average person, and you're going to be able to materialize and dematerialize, become invisible, all these things, which in some aspects is possible for a very high adept. But getting to an adept level is extremely difficult, and I frankly doubt that a handful of people a year, under 10 people a year, even reach that level. And I'm not saying through this organization, I'm talking in general. So it's not about that, and this whole reality isn't about you becoming a god and controlling and having everything you want on this physical realm, and then everyone else basically becomes your subject, and you rule over them. If you think those in power would even allow that, it's pretty silly. And the historical evidence shows that the people that have the most military are the people that rule. Plain and simple. It's not complicated. The Romans conquered the world under their pagan belief systems, and as they grew into Christianity to try and control things, they lost everything and became very decadent. But it wasn't their spiritual belief, because they did grow under even the Christian belief system, which was designed to help unite the empire, which is they saw the problems coming, and they needed a more peaceful, more homogeneous religion that could filter around the empire so that they could be controlled better. And of course, that's really where Christianity came from in general. But putting that aside, if you even had the ability, you'd have to, and I've talked about this on and off in different lectures, is that anyone who has great abilities is very cunning, and they don't tell people they can win the lottery. They don't tell people they're using their psychic abilities to make money in the stock market. They're smart, and they make sure that these things are kept on the down low, and most likely they have some reason of how they did it. That is not occult based, and it is filtered through something else, similar to how organized crime, of course, that runs the world, runs it through so many legitimate businesses. So you have all these ways of operating, and what's really behind everything is quite different than what is in front of you. So, but if you were to go to announce that, if someone was to teach, let's say, how to win the lottery, which everybody wants to do, and it's a big request that I get all the time, and as soon as I figure that out, you'll never see the guild again. But all all that aside, the bottom line is that you would be a major target. It means entire industries are gone. Now, even if you are a person who has developed some sort of skill, you're really lucky. Let's in the gambling industry, you've come up with something. Card counting is something that's been around for a long time, which is very effective. And you go out and you do this obnoxiously. You are then photographed, and around the world, to every casino on the planet, your picture is posted as someone that is not allowed to gamble there. And here's something that is plain and simple a skill that you have developed, which is non-occult based, just the counting of cards to add up your odds. And already there's a system to eliminate you. Now, can you imagine if you had other skills? Do you actually think that people are going to allow you to pop in and out of places if you could, let's say, become invisible and know what's happening in the secrets of all secrets and all the realms of the sick and perverted and the controllers? Do you really think that you would be able to survive if that ability was even possible? So the whole idea is anyone who attains these kind of high levels is certainly not going to tell other people how to do it, instruct them, or anything else. That is pretty much suicide. And if everybody knew how to win the lottery, what would you think would happen to the lottery?
Well, they have more lotteries so more people could win.
Well, of course the lottery would disappear. But in general, when you start getting an real occult product, it is working in your life in many, many different ways, especially if it's something that is for all purpose. So there is a huge unwritten and uncommunicated reality to real occult products. They start working in your life, and the unspoken, what's really happening, the becoming and the being that I talk so much about, that you need to focus on instead of the thinking and the contemplating. All these things have never solved any problems in our lives. The thinking and trying to fix things through thought generally has gained very little success in the bigger picture. Most inventors, most even advanced people who come up with anything, either good or bad, have done this in altered states. Einstein, who came up with his theories, which I'm not a big fan of, but he did his best thinking while he was playing the violin, and supposedly came up with his theory of relativity, as wacky as it is, while he was riding on a streetcar. So, this is when we are really being and not thinking. This is also when real occult tools help you. It's in this process of you are coming together with all the energies of a advanced real magical tool, and it's not about sitting there and meditating with it. It's not about holding it. It's not about, well, I gotta have it in my presence, I gotta use this template, I gotta use all these things. Well, these issues, it's really hard to state how important they are in the ultimate process. And if you don't give people these types of things and you tell them to be and become one with, and we've heard this constantly, this Zen-like thing, become the arrow to hit the target, become something. And, there's a lot of truth to that, but thinking to become something is a problem. So thinking is nothing more than basically it's your sixth sense and nothing more. And most other societies other than the Western world, but even from the ancient Greeks, have considered thinking to be a nothing more than another sense. But, we've been now told by so many groups and by the scientists that, thinking is going to solve our problems, and it isn't. And you could go down and if you talk to anyone who's made a major breakthrough, it's usually done in a serendipity way. And serendipity is a great term, a fascinating word, meaning it's kind of happened by accident. Well, you don't know, this happened, that happened, you tried this, and who knows. And it came to you while you're bicycle riding, while you were doing something else. And it just shows you that, if things are coming to you while you do something else, by you being, you're creating one hell of a lot of energies working in your direction. Because you have started the initial process, by getting an all-purpose tool, you've started that process. And now people are going to sit there and,
Do something for me, jump around, sing a song.
Well, this is really how people expect things to happen. Or,
well, I'm going to hold it, and tomorrow I expect to have a Cadillac in my driveway.
Well, that would be great. Ain't going to happen, but it would be nice. And again, when I find that technology, I'll be sure not to tell anyone. So the whole idea is that it doesn't work like that, and we're not living in a reality that does work like that. These genie stories perpetrated, which didn't even come from the silly little pagan stories from the Middle East that are connected to genies and stuff. Well, those were added by a Frenchman, the whole Aladdin lamp stuff and Sinbad the Sailor. Those are all contrived stories that somebody else added to a very successful book, 1001 Nights, which was a big bestseller. And then they threw in these other stories which really have no basis from the original as well. So that fantasy of a genie helping you, which is nothing more than a spirit, most likely a nature spirit, is what jinn is a Middle Eastern term that means spirit. That's all it is. It's not anything special. And I get this all the time. Well, jinns, are they something special? After all, we see them in the movies. Well, again, it's complete nonsense. It's just a Middle Eastern spirit. But of course, so much of Western magic, which is tied into Judaism, which is tied into the Egyptians and into the Arabic cultures, are all come from the Middle East. So that is something that people I don't even know if they think about that. But the point is that, once you have started the process, that's the big thing. The whole idea is to get the dominoes going. If you're in a life that has a lot of negative blockages, then you have serious problem. Now, these have to be released, and usually it's done through rituals. And you can do this with the bag as well. It takes longer. It's always good to be cleared out first, then get a bag. And that way things manifest for you faster. But the whole idea is you have to remove the blockages in your life and then start all the positive things in your life that you need to start moving on and getting ahead in general. But it's the concentration on overly doing something, overly thinking, over visualization. We've got this so programmed in our minds now. And of course, these are how the mind works. But visualization is something that happens naturally. And what's been done now is by forcing it, it helps manifest things in your life faster. And that is true to a degree. The whole idea is once you understand the visualization process and it becomes part of you, you become visualization, not think you visualize. I'm thinking I'm visualizing, make things happen. Well, no, you make things happen better when you become visualization. And your whole being and process, and if you have a general tool, it is using spiritual, cosmic, and earth energies. It's using a whole vast amount of energies, which is what our bags do. And why there's so much in our bags, these aren't some simple hoodoo, voodoo root with a little spirit connected to it that you carry in your pocket that's the size of a quarter. Our bags are big and full of all sorts of empowering and connecting tools. Some of them extremely rare. There are awesome energies in there. I mean, there are even stones that harness the power of lightning, and those are in your bags. So you have this general tool, and the whole idea is to constantly push that tool, kind of take that helper that you have and keep slapping him in the face and putting him down the same street all the time because you're thinking your way there, is counterproductive. You have to allow and be, because life isn't this simple thing. You're not Donald Trump. You're not going to make a deal somewhere where you're going to make hundreds of billions. Most likely, you're not even a stockbroker who's going to do things. And to a large extent, while very few of these people seem to use these technologies, and thank God, they already have too much power. If stockbrokers and money people and gamblers started using these kind of products in mass, they would be unbeatable. So, you have an amazing edge, and magic will work with you. And because it works within your life and will bring to you how it can bring to you. So, everybody'd like to do things, and, I want to make a lot of money, so I want to do this or do that. Well, and you can look at that saying, well, yeah, I want to be a successful rapper. Well, then you better be able to rap. And you will empower that. But you can't take a person who can't put two rap words together and, yeah, but magic, you do that and give me the skill. Matter of fact, I want to become a brain surgeon. I'm going to get a magic bag and I'm going to command it, visualize it with my mind to make me a surgeon. Well, it doesn't work like that. And I'm not sure even if we use the Matrix S technology that would put that information in your mind, that would in itself work either. There's a large process of it's more than getting the information, the how-to knowledge. It's being able to apply it, and do you have the motor skills, the eyesight? I mean, if you want to be I know Kung Fu master, well, you're not going to do that being 300 pounds, eating Twinkies, drinking bottles of soda every 10 minutes. You have to have a body that's used to reacting quickly and everything. It's not the knowledge to do that. All the different synapses and brain and energizing that goes on through the entire systems of the body have to be done past the fact of, well, do this or do that. There's an illusion to think that it's just knowledge. If that really was the case, everybody who played Street Fighter and who was good at it could theoretically go out there and say, well, I know how to punch somebody. I've watched it a million times. You punch them right here in the side of the face, and they fall right down. Well, good luck. Go try that. All you Street Fighter and other fighting game geniuses. See if that really works like that. Or all these other people that, all these military games and everything else. You think you're going to be a field with a real good weapon and you know how to shoot and aim. It's a lot more than just having the technology. There's a million things going on that take all sorts of training, physical reality training, beyond the knowing of how a particular way of doing something is. And ultimately, a master is someone that is not involved in the thinking process. He's involved in the being process. And the being process is what makes you that master and what gains you results. Now, here again, you can't be a master of something if you don't know anything about it. So, there's always the rub there. If you don't have the empowerments that a tool gives you, the spiritual connections, and you just be, well, things are not going to work very well. So everything's a two-edged sword, and but you have to learn that, occult tools are not common tools. You're not buying a hammer here. You're not buying a computer. There's a huge amount of occult things happening. Spirit involvement, God form involvement. They're working with your soul, all your occult bodies. All these things are happening, and one of the problems is that you fight against this, even though you say,
Well, why I fight against it? I bought the thing. I want it to work. I want to get my money out of it.
Well, yes, in one aspect you say that, but that's also a very crude understanding of a tool. Expecting, well, how do I get my money out of it? Well, is that because you've done one or two things, or you expect that to have it for the rest of your life? Of course, our tools are lifetime tools. They never get old. They never get to power. As a matter of fact, as you use a real occult tool, it gets stronger and stronger because it is entering into your occult fields and becoming part of you. And just by the fact of owning it, is creating this almost relic effect, meaning you hold something and things happen to you because the energy is there from the relic. So, what does that mean? It's if you approach things from such a shallow, low-level understanding, like the typical black magician, the moronic carpet-cleaning geniuses that they are, you will get no results like those people get no results. You need to approach occult tools as these sacred little relics they are, these things that will assist and work within your life, and stop pushing it mentally to make it happen and start learning to becoming. And of course, everybody says, well, that becoming, well, how do you become? Well, there you go again, thinking. Well, we teach you to become through this sigil process. The whole idea of activating the inner magical being is to activate these things that don't sit and talk and think. They become and they operate from higher spiritual and occult empowered places of existence. This is the process you need to go through. And this is not a quick, easy process. But of course, it's rare that anyone doesn't get pretty interesting results from anything that we offer from day one. All of our tools, again, work for everybody. We've never had a failure. They are lifetime tools. But when we say we never had a failure, it also depends on the fact of that, what you are expecting. Well, I was 5'2", and I want the bag because, I'm too short. I want to be 6 foot. Well, and that's kind of stupid. Or, expecting ridiculous things to happen, people to fall at your feet, to win millions, etc., etc. Now, the point is you can use all these things to improve yourself. We said, while you can't make yourself win with gambling, you can make yourself luckier. And if you win more often, this can be a major plus in your life, obviously. So, that's how things work. They're working with you, not making things happen. And you need to approach things like that. If you don't approach things from this particular viewpoint and don't work with things, don't let them develop in your life and start being the magical person, being the magical master, not thinking yourself to that. It's very, very Western stupid. Because, that's what all of our school systems are based in, is you think, you remember, you regurgitate on a piece of paper, and this qualifies you. And there's very little practical knowledge that you need to demonstrate or do in most educational systems. But that's not going to make a bunch of masters. It's not going to make a bunch of scientists that make important breakthroughs or going to produce good doctors. What it's going to do is bring a certain quality or an assumed training level, and of course with the amount of incompetence out there, you wonder if these things work at all. But ultimately, once you have the basics or you have a tool, you have to learn how to use it properly, so that you become something. You activate your inner magical being that pushes out your lower self, that stops the mind from creating blockages, and you then move ahead in life. And the whole idea is to be operating from a place where you don't have blockages or hindrances to achieve your goal. Now, with most people, their goal is on top of Mount Everest. And getting up there and getting to that goal is near impossible, because Mount Everest is a giant blockage. If you use an occult tool, and over time, it will start to the point where you no longer have to climb a mountain to reach your goals. You just have to stroll across a field. And that's the key to it. And of course, that's what you're looking in life. You're not necessarily looking in our own very shallow ways. Well, I need this and I need that and I need X amount of dollars. Well, maybe you don't need all of those things, and maybe they're not practical or possible to happen for you, but magic will know how to manifest within your life of what you do need. So instead of thinking your way to particular goals, you become your goal and allow the magic to bring you there as it can. And that's what a real magical tool will assist you with. But, as is with everything in life, you get out of something how you understand and are able to use it at. So if you give a skilled person a hammer, they're going to build something nice. You give someone who can't build anything a hammer, they're going to build a piece of junk. Yet they both had the same hammer. A skilled person doesn't have a better hammer than you. They have the better being than you. So, you need to look at life in that way and look at occult tools and stop thinking of things and judging magic in a particular fashion. You need to become magic and be magic and allow it to happen. And those people who tend to deal on the very low levels of things, trying to force things are happening or don't really understand what I've just said, tend to get the lowest results with any kind of occult product. Those who understand these principles, those who let these new positive energies into their lives and fill their lives and direct their lives, are the ones that get excellent results. So like many things, this is is one of the many misunderstood occult concepts out there. And we don't live in a reality that's going to make you this fantasy Superman. I mean, the reason why these people are so popular in fiction, in writing, and in movies is because everybody would love to do that. And if everybody was a superhero, there'd be all sorts of problems. And some of the new comics have even dealt with these kind of things. But, which is interesting of, what the real world would be if we had these kind of people. I don't think that would ever be possible. So, there's too many things in life, and you're not going to give power away to, let's say, a Superman who could basically control the earth. Well, they'd figure some way to kill him and kill him fast. So, the world is not done. This is not where. This is a particular reality, a particular hell plane where it's all about empowering yourself to get it, to get the bigger picture, to become, and then leave this joint. Get out of the ghetto. It's time to go to a better place. And you have to have that concept, and you can't be expecting to get tools that are going to make things happen for you instead of help you make things happen. And those are very, very important concepts. And anyone that says anything different, they're just hawking products to take money out of your pocket. It's just as simple as that. It doesn't work like that. If people have, all these people, I'm so sick and tired of looking everywhere, particularly in the occult, the New Age, supplements. The claims they make are unbelievable. Just unbelievable. And of course, that sells a lot of product. And a lot of people don't care. You sell a lot of product in 2-3 years. If it doesn't work and people don't like it, so what? You walk away with $50 million. And then you do it all over again, but with something else. And I've seen this time and time again. And, people want to buy into this as some sort of reality. And we're all open to that. And I bought stuff the same way. Well, let's try it. But, of course, it was all money down the sewer. It's childish to think that somebody's going to sell you something so special, that's going to so empower you, that it's going to heal and cure you from everything. It's just offensive. Unbelievable. I've heard this recently. I had some idiot healer come to me that wanted to join the guild and told me how he was healing everybody with FDA approved supplements, and he had to go to school in Texas to learn how to before he could give people these supplements. And there's 3 different types and they cured everything. I said, you gotta be kidding me. I mean, that's nonsense. I don't know what kind of delusional state you're working in, but people are dying and suffering every day, and very few people are healed of anything. You're lucky if you can stabilize yourself and deal with the symptoms that you have. And sure, some people are healed, and sure, some of these things help in a bigger picture. But to think that people are being healed left and right from these simplistic little moron supplements is the epitome of stupid. But he claimed to make fortune from it. Well, of course he believed in it. Take the magic pill, I need another yacht. Well, the problem is the reason why these people prosper and get wealthy is because of the fact that they are playing on your sucker, get something for nothing reality. Plain and simple. And we all are subject to this, and we all think, well, what if it does work? It's only $50. And we all fall into that. And, that's why the guild is here. We test these things. We find out about these things. If you have something in mind or that's out there, certainly feel free to contact us, and we can give you our opinion on it, or what we can test on it from a distance. You can tell an awful lot of something just by checking all its energy fields if there's anything there. I mean, there is no time and space. And this is all part of being with, you'd have to deal with occultism. So the fact is, a picture is an energy profile of that object. I don't need it in front of me. And in some ways, having a 3D physical object is actually distracting. If I have the photo image of it, even the digital images that we have today, I can tell exactly what's going on with something like that. So I can tell the occult fields of it. And you can also tell whether something is good for that particular person. So, I mean, this is all what real occultism is about. This is what real occultists can do and are able to do, and what people who are connected to truth, who have achieved gnosis, can pass on to those that haven't. And of course, that's what the guild is all about, and that's what real occult products do, and that's what people that are connected to and have reached a state of gnosis produce for those out there that work for them. But if you're going to treat a tool, an occult tool, like you're getting any other product out there, you're making a big mistake. It's all between the lines, as most occultism is. It's a development and empowerment that cannot be spoken in words. It's about becoming. It's about learning. It's about doing. It's about being. And it isn't about going to school or reading a book or doing anything else, which is what the whole sigil empowerment is all about, and the activation of this dormant, awesome power within you known as the inner magical being. So with that, I hope everything is clear as a bell. And until we meet again in another fascinating lecture, I bid you adieu.